So good afternoon, everyone. So can you hear me clearly on Zoom? If yes, just type yes in chat and let me know. And I'm Sylvia, your MC today. So first of all, on behalf of the Professional Development Committee of the Hong Kong Library Association, welcome to our second professional development talk, AI Tools for Literature Review, a practical guide for librarians, co-organized with the Hong Kong University of Technology and Science Library. We are delighted to have you join us online for this exciting and informative sections. So as we are using Zoom for this event, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items before we get started. So first, please keep your microphone mute during the presentation to minimize the background noise. And second, feel free to ask questions using the chat features in the Zoom throughout the section, or you can raise your question in the Q&A section towards the end. And thirdly, especially for those participants who need a certificate of attendance, so please ensure your Zoom display name matches the name you provided during registration. This helps us issue your certificate correctly. And last but not least, please note that this event will be recorded and the presentation slide will be shared with you afterwards. So now to officially kickstart today's event, it is my pleasure to invite the president of the Hong Kong Library Association, Dr. Khoo Kan-ming, to deliver the opening remarks. So Dr. Khoo, please.
Thank you, Sylvia. Okay. Dear friends, welcome. It's our pleasure to have you all here for this seminar on AI tools for literature review, a practical guide for the librarians. We are honored to have Ms. Esther Zhou with us to lead this session. She is a research support librarian and engineering librarian at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technologies, where she works closely with students and faculty to support their research and learning. She enjoys discovering and sharing practical tools that make academic work easier and has a growing interest in areas like AI literacy, open science, and bibliometrics. Esther finds particular joy in teaching and learning alongside others and is always curious about how emerging technologies can be integrated into library services. In this seminar, Esther will introduce the latest AI-powered tools designed to support and accelerate the literature review process. She will also discuss best practice for using AI tools responsibly, focusing on ethical considerations and their integration into the research workflows. Throughout the seminar, she will demonstrate several tools in action, for example, POE, Grok, DeepSeek, Perplexity, Scite, Elicit, Consensus, and Notion AI, etc. Okay, so without further ado, please join me in welcoming Esther. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Dr. Khoo. Let me first make sure that I can share my screen.
Yes, it's okay. Good.
You can see my screen, right? Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. Okay, so hello, everyone. My name is Esther. So thank very much for Hong Kong LA, Hong Kong Library Association for having me today to give a talk. So this talk is about AI tools for literature review. I'm a research support librarian, and I'll be teaching this workshop for our own students for a couple of times. And this is a workshop actually designed for, I would say, librarians or information professionals. But I understand that some of you might be researchers or students who are also interested in this topic. So I hope that this workshop will be useful for you as well, okay? And in today's session, we will have some learning goals. So I hope that after this talk or seminar, you will be able to know what are the tools available out there, okay? So be able to identify and also compare some of the AI tools to support particularly the different stages for literature review, which is a very important process for research, okay? I just want to highlight here to make a differentiation here, okay? The AI tools I'm mentioning here basically refer to the Gen AI tools, generative AI, so not in general, okay? So just for simplicity, I put AI tools here, right? And the second one is be able to recommend some appropriate tools based on your particular needs or task. Okay, and last, be able to apply the best practices of using AI tools responsibly, and also aware of the ethical and also the for example, privacy and copyright issues. Okay, I will cover that in later stage. Okay, so before we dive into the content, I just want to know a little bit about your experience with AI tools. So a quick poll. Please, you can use your phone to scan the QR code or go to menti.com and key in this number. Okay, I'm gonna also paste the link in the chat so that you can directly go to the page as well. Let me see, where is the chat? So this is the direct link. And in the meanwhile, let me switch to Menti. Is the QR code working? Let me try myself as well. Okay, perfect. Okay, so just two very simple questions. The first one is, which generative AI tools have you used so far for research? This is a free text polling. So just give a name for the tools that you have used so far. I want to have a quick understanding about the experiences from your side. Okay, I could see the big ChatGPT in the middle, Copilot, Perplexity, Scite, Consensus, DeepSeek, Google Gemini, Grok, Elicit, yeah, I see POE, which is very popular in Hong Kong, Site Assistant, a Gemini Deep Research. Oh, I've seen some, I think this Mistral, the open source one as well. Interesting. Undermind, okay. I've also seen some names that I'm not familiar with. The Prediction, Bitcoin. Oh, I've seen people using Scopus AI as well, right? And Cloud. Oh, Research Rabbit. Okay, interesting. I would say Research Rabbit is an AI-powered tool, but it's not necessarily a generative AI tool, okay? It's using AI technology for it to kind of explore literature through set interchaining or similarity, okay? All right, I think we can stop here for this question. This would be, I think this is quite typical. So the mainstream tools include ChatGPT or POE, Perplexity, Gemini, Copilot, Scite. Yeah, some of them are very general chatbots. For example, the ChatGPT or POE, Gemini, and some of them are more research-based. For example, Scite, Elicit. Okay, so in today's session, I will be demonstrating a few general ones and also the research-based ones, okay? And for the general purpose chatbot, definitely we will show or demonstrate how they can help with research, right? Let's take a look at the second question quickly. I want to know who you are. Just have a quick understanding of the background. All right, I've seen majority seems to be librarians and the library staff. We've also got some faculty members, students, others. Okay, great. I think we are reaching the right audience, right? So this is a class designed for librarians, library staff. But like I mentioned, I believe the content shared today will be useful for researchers as well, as long as you have a need for literature review or research in general. Okay, so think we can stop here. Thank you very much for your participation. This is just a warm-up. Okay, let's get back to our slides. Oops. So this will be our today's outline. I will start with something called the evolution of searching. Okay, and along the way, I will try to differentiate what are some of the general purpose tools vs the academic tools, okay, the tools for research purposes. And then we will dive into the tools that are used to support different stages of literature reviews, okay? And I will broadly categorize them into 3 stages: the tools that can help with developing research questions or hypotheses, or simply brainstorming topics, and then the tools that can help with the literature searching, and finally for the writing part. Okay, and at the very, not really the end of the session, but the second half of the session, I will also highlight the limitations of the Gen AI tools in research context, which I think are very important. Okay, and it's by knowing these, I hope that you will have better understanding of what are the capabilities and what are the limitations of each tool, so that you can make informed decisions when you are doing your own tasks. Okay. All right, let's start with the evolution of searching. Okay, I think this would be a good way to kind of lay out how the searching tools or the platforms evolves. Okay, we start from the pre-internet era. Okay, very quickly. So at that time, we don't have the internet, and we have the libraries, and we have a lot of physical books. And at that time, people actually using the index card to find books. Okay, probably in this session, many people have never seen the index card themselves. I used to see them, okay? If you're old enough, you will be able to see them before, okay? At that time, we need to manually browse the index card, and there's a kind of a system behind, okay? But everything is still in physical format at that time. And later in the 1990s, we have the internet, and then we have these search engines. Very typical ones now we're still using include the Google and also Yahoo, okay? And these search engines are basically using the keyword searching, okay? And by doing a quick search, we will have a list of web pages as the results, okay? List of links. This is a very typical search engine results. And at the same time, later in the 2000s, we have the academic search tools, and a very typical one is Google Scholar, which we are still using today. Okay, again, Google Scholar is using keyword searching, and the differences here is we are now getting the scholarly content out of it. Okay, but again, it's a list of articles, list of results, right, in terms of the format we see in the output. And then we also have these scholarly databases, which are designed for scholars, right, to look for scholarly materials, for example, journal articles or book chapters, etc. And 2 very, I would say, mainstream databases nowadays we are still using are Web of Science and Scopus. These are just 2 examples. They're multidisciplinary. And in these 2 platforms, people still use keyword search, okay? And as librarians, we teach a lot of classes how to kind of construct a good search query in order to get better results in this out of these kind of databases, right? Using Boolean operators like and or not. Okay, and out of these databases, again, we are also getting a list of results, list of article links, right? And the differences will be they will cover the peer review literature, and they can, some of the databases also incorporate the citation chaining, which allow us to find papers through citations connections, right? At the same time, later on, we also start to have these open databases, okay? When the publishers start to share their metadata, or some even share their abstract because of some open initiatives, we have this kind of a platform designed based on this open data, okay? And a few examples include Semantic Scholar, okay, OpenAlex, and Lens.org. And Semantic Scholar is a very, very important website. It's like Google Scholar, okay, but it's a little bit different because all of their data are open, I would say. And because of the openness of these kind of platforms, okay, we will be able to build AI research tools because many of those tools are actually using the data from, for example, Semantic Scholar. Okay, and this kind of open databases, they provide more resources than just scholarly content or journal articles. Okay, beyond journal articles, some of them provide patents and clinical trials, etc. Right. Now moving to the 2020, fast forward, we have these Gen AI tools, and the first tool that really caught our attention, 2022, late 2022, when ChatGPT was born. Okay, the reason that this one caught our attention is because that it now becomes a tool, right? Everybody can get access to it, almost, okay? And it's very easy to use because it uses a searching technique called semantic search. Okay, just put it simple words, semantic search basically means that you search by meaning. You can simply type in in natural language and then you get the answer directly. So now by using these kind of tools or chatbots, we have the direct answer instead of a list of links, right? And other than ChatGPT, which is from OpenAI, now we also have a Cloud. These are the mainstream ones, Cloud from Anthropic and also Gemini from Google. It used to be called a BART, and then they kind of rebranded into Gemini. And there's one very particular one called POE, PO.com. Okay, I think for people in Hong Kong, we are very familiar with this one, but for people outside, probably you don't use this one. POE is is kind of a platform which consolidates a lot of different models, okay, from different companies. And the reason that it's very popular in Hong Kong is because that in Hong Kong, we cannot use ChatGPT, Cloud, and Gemini without VPN. Okay, and that's why we use this as an alternative tool. Okay, just some explanation so that we are on the same page, because later I'll be demonstrating a lot of things on POE. All right, and at the same time, other than this chatbot, we also have these AI search engines. And these search engines actually can, other than provide this large language model features, give us the answers. At the same time, they can also access the real-time data, okay? Because at that time, ChatGPT, Cloud, Gemini, they cannot access internet, okay? But now actually all of them can now. All right, at that time, they're kind of knowledge base. Each of them have a cutoff date, okay? And later on, very soon, we have these AI tools that are designed for research purposes, okay? The Gen AI research tools, and many of them are RAG-based, okay? I will explain a little bit more about the RAG, okay? The retrieval augmented generation-based research tools. And a few very popular ones include Scite, Elicit, Consensus, Scite-based, which is very similar to Elicit, I would say. Undermind, which is I would say quite new, but very powerful. And also a very recent one called Ai2 Paper Finder. Okay, and these tools I'll be demonstrating today as well. And these tools, again, use semantic search, and some of them use a hybrid approach, which means that they search semantically and also they use keyword search as well. Okay, and they give us the direct answer, and a very typical output would be a direct answer, a summary with the citations. Okay, and because of the emerging of these tools, the traditional tools, traditional databases like Web of Science, Scopus, and also our Primo Search, which is a discovery tool that a lot of libraries subscribe to, they also incorporate these AI features. So allow people to look up the research, look up information, okay, out of their own platform. All right. I would say the key differences between these tools and the general chatbot is they're actually trained on scholarly content. Okay, remember I mentioned about the open database, Semantic Scholar. Many of them are actually trained on the data from Semantic Scholar and also some open access content. Okay. Now moving forward to 2024 and also this year. Right. We've been hearing these terms, deep research, deep search, okay, and AI agents a lot. Okay. So now a lot of these chatbots or the tools, they start to incorporate this deep search or deep research features. And basically deep research is a combination of deep search search deeper, plus some reasoning model. So kind of to determine what to do next, okay? Where to find the resources, what are the terms that I need to search, okay? And then they just operate themselves and go through a kind of agentic workflow, okay? I wouldn't say this is AI agent, okay? Because at this stage, it's still a series of steps defined in these platforms, okay? And ChatGPT and Gemini, and also Perplexity, they all have these deep research functions now. And DeepSeek is a tool developed by a Chinese company. And it came out, I think, last year during the Chinese New Year. And it suddenly became very popular because it's an open source tool, right? And because of this, I think that kind of pushed the other giant companies to release their some of their best tools to open. Okay. And also at the same time, we also have this Grok, which is developed by XAI, trained on Twitter data, and also some open data as well. Okay. And we will see how these tools can help with the research as well. And in terms of AI agent, there are a few really agent thing, which are three typical ones. One is called menace. So basically, you give instruction, and it will do everything on its own. It will decide what to do, okay, and then do it on its own. It can even control your computer. For example, open up a browser and do the searching. Okay. At the same time, ChatGPT and Cloud, they also have their own truly autonomous AI agent, help people to do some tasks. Okay. And for this part, we won't do the demonstration. I just want to lay it out. This is the latest development in Gen AI. Okay. And there are some interesting development in the research side as well. For example, Google, they come up with this kind of co-scientific multi-agent AI system, which can help researchers to generate the novel hypotheses, research proposals, okay, and do a series of stuff. Okay, and the other one is called AI AI scientist. They all share very similar names. And this one is from a Japanese company. It's still in the prototype stage, I think. And this one even powerful. They actually can generate ideas, write the code, even do the experiments themselves, and visualize the result. Basically, you give an idea, and the AI can handle everything, and even submit the paper to the conference or to a journal. Okay, so I just want to quickly mention that now there are something like this happening. Okay. All right, so this is a quick overview of the evolution of searching. And along the way, I already mentioned some of the tools. So later you have a better concept when I demonstrate them. All right, so speaking of POE, I want to give people who are not very familiar with this tool some backgrounds. So first of all, POE is a tool that hosts a lot of different bots, okay, from different companies, and most of them are free. And the free users got 3,000 credits. And for using each bot, you will have a certain number of credits deducted for each question. Okay, and this platform actually they updated their bots quite timely. Usually, if there's a new bot or new version coming out from a particular company, and then they will update it now within 24 hours. Okay, and on one platform, you can also call different bots to work on the same question or same tasks. Okay, and the latest powerful models on this platform, including all these from different companies, from OpenAI, the GPT 4.1 for all latest, okay, and some reasoning models like O3, O4 Mini, and some latest models from Anthropic, from Google, Gemini, DeepSeek, and since DeepSeek, it's open source, so some companies use their API to develop their own platform. So basically, they put this on the POE, but this is not really from the DeepSeek company, okay? And also Grok 3 as well, right? And the reason that I'm listed here most powerful is not based on my experience. This is based on some platform. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay. Let me just do it this way. So it's called LM Arena leaderboard. And if you go to the leaderboard, actually, this is a very interesting platform to help people know what are the most powerful large language models at the moment, okay? They have the text models, they have the vision models or search models, okay? If you look at the text models, these are the latest. So how they come up with this list? So basically, they give users a task, and then they basically the user try to they give a task, and then they present the output from two different models, okay, without letting the user know which one is which, and then the user will rate, okay. I think this gives a better output, and that one gives a average output, and then they will consolidate the votes, okay. And now the most powerful one is Gemini 2.5 Pro, O3, the reasoning model. And this is a preview version of 2.5 Pro Gemini as well. And this one, ChatGPT 4o latest. Currently, I'm using these two a lot. Okay, and later I will be using these two for demonstration as well. Okay. All right, just to share this website. All right. So we've mentioned different chatbots and also some academic tools. And here I want to clearly make a distinction between the two. So the general chatbots, they are basically trained on the open web knowledge, okay? And they are designed for answering general questions. And in the research context, if you ask a general chatbot questions like, please suggest some papers to read, okay? Please suggest some articles in a particular topic. And very likely you will see hallucinations, right? I think this is very common. This is a known issue to everybody now. And you will see a lot of fake citations, fake sources. Whereas if you use an academic AI tool, which are trained on academic sources, okay, for example, semantic scholar data, and they're designed for research, and very likely they will give you the real sources, okay? Or if the tool is connected to the internet, they can verify the sources they're checking, and very, very likely they will give you the real sources, real citations, okay? And I also want to mention that in the early stage of Gen AI, many tools, they actually have the cutoff date, which means that if you use a tool, you ask some questions, which is something that just happened, probably they wouldn't be able to give you the answer, right? And currently, there are still a lot of models, for example, on POE, they have the cutoff date. For example, ChatGPT, the GPT-4o mini, okay, I think the cutoff date is 2023, okay? And GPT-4o latest, is 2024. So it's still not the latest. And this is something that we need to keep in mind, okay? They don't have the search capability. But at the same time, there are more and more tools which have the search capability, so allow you to verify the information, okay? And on POE, let me just quickly switch to POE. So I've got a lot of paper opened. So this is the POE homepage. If you click Explore, now they actually have all the bots here listed here, but with a tab called Search. Whoops, Search. Why it's not clickable? Oh, this is weird. Let me try to refresh. Oops. I think there's a bug. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. But basically, if you click search, you will be able to see all the tools with the search function. Okay, let me give you an example. A lot of these tools actually have the search terms. Okay, for example, we have this, if you use the GPT-4o, it's not searching anything. It's not connected to the internet, but this version, GPT-4o search, this one will connect to the internet. Okay, so this is something that I want to mention here. And other than the some bots on the POE, Copilot, okay, the Microsoft Copilot, Perplexity, Grok, DeepSeek, they can all access the internet. And this is very important for us. For example, when you want to search for some latest articles on some topic, or let's see, to identify some recent research gaps, okay, within the last 2 years on a certain topic, then you will know that there are some tools that you cannot use, okay? You cannot use, for example, the GPT-4 or latest, but to refer to some tools that have the search capability, okay? And of course, if you have the VPN connection, or for people who are outside our region, you can access the ChatGPT original site and Cloud and Gemini. They are all now connected to the internet, okay? And I want to share a little tip about how you can check if a tool is connected to the internet, okay? My way of doing this is, I'll just ask, what's the weather today? And first of all, it needs to know what day is it today, okay? And in this case, it's very interesting. It knows that it's today's date, but it cannot distinguish where I am. It cannot know where I am, okay? And then you can say, I'm in Hong Kong, and now let it to search. And now I can, it even give me a Chinese, okay, traditional Chinese. Okay. If I'm asking the same question by using a model, for example, the GPT-4o latest. GPT-4 latest, okay, I'll just use this one. Actually, this is my default one in Hong Kong. And then the tool will tell you, okay, I cannot access the real-time data. Okay, please do something. And now you know that this tool actually cannot access the internet. Okay, so this is just a quick way to help people know that which one can actually access the real-time data. All right, so this is a general chatbot. At the same time, we have these academic tools. And these are the tools that I just come across. And I want to mention that many of these tools actually are powered by GPT-4 or GPT-4o, which means that they also have the cutoff date, okay? And in terms of the materials they cover. And this is something that we need to keep in mind as well, okay? And if the tool is trained on GPT-4 and the latest 1 year publications, there is a chance that you cannot find anything, okay, out of this tool. All right. So much for the brief introduction. And are there any quick questions? So far, so good? All right. Now let's dive into the lit review tools part. Okay, and for this part, I would broadly categorize all the tools or the lit review process into 3 stages. Okay, the research question, developing research question, hypothesis, and then the searching and review part, and finally writing part. And for each part, I will use this structure. So what are some of the common activities that we usually do, and what are the existing tools and how AI can help? And then I will do a few demonstrations. Okay. So at the very first stage, when we start the research, the first thing we need to have a topic and research question, right? And the common activities involved at this stage, including brainstorming some topics. We need to conduct some preliminary literature search, okay, to see what are already done in the field, and try to identify some research gaps, okay, and form our own hypothesis and develop our own questions. Okay, and there are many tools currently we are still using. Okay, for example, Google Scholar, and some scholarly databases like Web of Science Scopus or some other subject databases. And we also have these free open databases like Semantic Scholar or Dimensions or Lens. Okay, even that AI tools can now help us do a lot of things, we are still using these traditional tools. Okay, so I'm not saying that we are using AI. It means that, okay, these tools are no longer useful. No, we are still using them. They are actually very important as well. And later I will show you why, okay, when I mention the limitations part. But at this stage, let's see how AI can help. What are their capabilities, okay? And in terms of brainstorm topics, we can actually use a general chatbot to help us to brainstorm some ideas. AI is very good at brainstorming, Okay, actually, hallucination is a kind of brainstorming as well, right? We can make use of this their feature, okay, to give us a lot of very broad ideas, okay? And they can also help us to do some preliminary literature search, okay? And some of the tools I mentioned here are Perplexity, Grok, DeepSeek, and also the Gemini and ChatGPT. And we know that all of them can access the internet, okay, so that we can get the latest information on certain topics. At the same time, they also have the deep research or deep search mode, okay, which can help us do some kind of research, okay, and summarization, okay, before we move forward, okay. All right, so let me do a quick demonstration on some of these tools. First of all, I want to show you a quick way of using this kind of general chatbot to bring some ideas and get some keywords. Okay, so first of all, let me go to POE, and I will be using two models to do this demonstration, but of course you can use some others as well. And like I mentioned, my favorite one, top pick one is this one. I already set this as default because I think in terms of the quality and also the coverage of this is pretty good, even that it's not connected to the internet. Okay, so let's say you want to know, you have some ideas of a research topic. For example, I want to know the impact of Gen AI in the scholarly publishing field. Okay, and you want to know what are some of the possible directions, okay, for this particular topic. You can quickly, let me just quickly type into, for the sake of time, I'll just copy paste. Okay, you can just prompt in this way. Okay, I want to study something, and then can you give me some directions? Okay. I understand that people are now still talking about prompt engineering, but I would say that prompt engineering is lesser and lesser important. It's less important than before, all right? Because these models are getting smarter. And if, let's say, you're asking something that are not clear, you can anyway ask follow-up questions, okay? But the very important thing is make sure that you ask it clearly and give the context. Okay, it doesn't matter that you give it a role. For example, you are a help assistant, something like that. Okay, I don't think that's really helpful now. Okay, so I'm asking this question, can you give me some directions? So this is the instruction, and now it helps me lay out things like this. For example, some aspects like authorship, ethical considerations, manuscript and review, automation, blah, blah, etc. Okay, and if you're interested in any of these subjects or aspects, you can actually ask it to elaborate. For example, I'm interested in the future of peer review. You can say, can you elaborate on number 10? And then it will do something like this to break it down, some possible research questions, and also some topics to explore. Okay. At the very beginning, I think this general chatbot can help a lot on this. And especially when there are some terms that I don't understand, I want it to explain to me. I think general chatbot works the best. Okay, you wouldn't ask a research AI to do these kind of jobs. Well, personally, I don't think they are designed for this purpose. Okay, but this general chatbot is designed for answering this kind of questions. Okay. All right, so this is one, and I want to show you Gemini 2.5 Pro. If you ask the same question, so Gemini 2.5 Pro is a reasoning model, which means that it will think. It will also tell you what they thought, okay, the thinking process, and then they will show you the answer. Okay. Sometimes I feel that using a thinking model, a reasoning model, and also a normal model, okay, they will give us some different aspects, okay, or the different format of answers, okay, help us to do a better comparison, okay. And in this case, Gemini 2.5 Pro actually can connect to the internet, and it's a reasoning model, so it gives us some ideas. At the same time, it tries to quote some sources as well. Okay, and if you're interested, you can click into that and to see the page, right? What happened? All right, let me see. The first one should be this one from a university. Okay, let me try the second one. I hope, yeah, that's a real link. Okay. So now I think there's a study to show that if the large language, oh, it's a PDF, no wonder. Okay. So if the large language model is connected to the internet, the chances of hallucination is very, very low now. Okay. It's 0 point something percent. Okay. All right. So you can see that they will also cover some key points like writing assistant, authorship, which we can see from the 4.0 latest as well. But the way they lay out, it's a little bit different. Okay. A tip here is whenever I ask a question or give an instruction, I always consult more than one bot or more than one model or more than one tool, and then I compare. Especially when I'm not familiar with the subjects, I'm not really sure about the output. Okay, it's better to use multiple tools, okay, similar tools to do the same thing and then compare. All right. Okay, so this is how you can make use of this general chatbot to do some brainstorming. Okay. All right. The next thing is I want to use Perplexity, Grok, and DeepSeek to help us to search, to find research gaps. Okay, so let me switch to Perplexity. These three are also general tools. They are trained on the open web, but Perplexity actually, they give us, by the way, this is the Perplexity landing page, okay? And here you can choose to switch on the academic sources as well, okay? But at the very beginning, I would say that we can just do the web search first. Sometimes I notice if you turn on the academic, you will get less sources. Okay, so I always start with the web ones. Okay, for Perplexity, the normal search is unlimited. And if you are not a pro user, you can only use their pro function or deep function. Okay, 3 queries today, 3 queries per day. Okay, I'm only using one. I already used one. Okay, so I've got 2 left. Okay, and this is their deep search, deep research function, which will give you more sources. Okay, let's say I'm interested in this particular topic, relation between the sleep duration and weight control. And I want to know what aspects of a relationship between the sleep duration and weight loss, okay, have been under-researched and lack sufficient empirical evidence. Okay, try to identify some research gaps here. And if I just use the normal search here without turn on the pro, you can see that it will start searching. And nowadays, I think most of these searching tools will show us the thinking process. Okay, this is very typical now. And we can see that it consults this number of sources. Okay. And now it tries to summarize. Okay. So out of these 10 sources, so it actually consulted these 10 sources. I think most of them are from scholarly content. Okay, this is from a journals page, and this is from PubMed. This is from Nature. Okay, but out of these 10 sources, actually, if you look at their summaries, they only cited a few of them. For example, this is number 3, 4, 5. Okay, like this. Okay, this is something that I want to highlight. Even that it consults a lot of sources, not all sources would be used in the summary. But the summary is actually only a summary of these cited sources. Okay, so if only 5 sources are cited, it means that this summary is about these 5 sources. All right, this is something that we need to keep in mind. Okay, if we ask the same question, but this time we turn on the deep search. Yeah, I already got one chance. Okay, deep search. And usually this process will take a few minutes. and it will search more thoroughly. Okay. And I want to give you, oh, okay. I actually try for Perplexity, because I need to do a lot of demonstrations. I actually have 2 accounts. So this is also a workaround for people who do not want to subscribe this tool, but at the same time want to enjoy a little bit more of this kind of free quota. Okay, you can register 2 accounts. Okay. And this time you can see that it consulted more sources. These are 8. Okay, it tried to break down the terms and then consult a bunch of sources and then searching a little bit more and consult another few. Okay, the deep search, as we can expect it, will search more resources or more sources. Okay, but let me give you this example. This is the search that I did earlier. So using the other account. Okay, so basically I did the same question, and for deep search, it consulted 60 articles. And you can see that most of them are from the scholarly materials as well. Okay, even that I did not turn on the academic source, right? But if you go to the research, it actually cited, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different aspects. Okay, and it only cited about 20 of them. Okay, 20 of them, or 22, right? And a very common thing that we see from this general tool is it will repeatedly citing the same article, okay, for different aspects. So again, this summary is about these 20 articles, not 60 articles, okay? So this is something that we need to be aware of, okay? If you really look into the content of the summary, and for Perplexity, I would say that this is more like Wikipedia page content. Okay, it's not very in depth, but it tries to summarize, try to consolidate everything into a cohesive paragraph. All right. So this is Perplexity. Usually, I will use it to learn some new concepts. Okay, to understand some subjects that I don't understand. But in terms of research, I would say that this is not in depth enough. All right. Okay, so this is Perplexity. Let's see the results. Oh, this time it only gives 34. Okay, 34. And for the research, they only cited around 20. Yes, 19 articles. So each time it will consult more, but only cite a few in their article in the summary. Okay. All right. Similarly, Grok. Okay. It also have this deep search, and they also have this deeper search. Okay. They actually separate deep research and thinking model. Thinking model basically it's using the technique called chain of thoughts, and it will try to think step by step. And usually we'll turn on this when there are very hard questions like math questions, physics questions. And in terms of searching, I would say that we can just use the deep search or deeper search. Okay, because thinking really usually take a lot of time. It doesn't make much better results for literature searching. Okay, if we search the same topic, same question, I'll just turn on the deep search. If you use the normal search, there will be no reasoning, there will be no thinking process, and they would sometimes do not include any sources even. Okay, so I would say whenever I use Grok or Perplexity or even DeepSeek, I would just use their deep research or deep search function. That's the part that we will find some useful information. All right. Again, it will take some time. And you can see its thinking process. Okay. In the meantime, let me also switch on my DeepSeek. And for DeepSeek, we have this deep think model. This is the reasoning model, and they also separated search. Okay. And you can ask the same question. I think for DeepSeek, at the very early stage, because the traffic is too much. You can only ask one difficult question. I mean, the DeepThink with the DeepThink model on, okay, one question per day. But now I think it's getting better because this is already the third question I asked today. All right. And again, you can see it tries to consult 39, and most of them are scholarly materials from different journals. But when you look at the paragraphs, you will notice that not all the sources are included. Okay. And yeah, this is still the thinking process. For DeepSeek, the thinking process is usually longer than the others, I would say. All right. And let's go back to Grok. For Grok, usually the summary is much longer than Perplexity. Okay, and if you look into the content, usually it tends to give us a very broad summary at the very beginning and try to dig into individual articles and do some summary. Okay, for example, they try to give us some examples. For example, this is the area with insufficient empirical studies. Okay, they try to give us some examples. Okay, and for each one, they will give a summary of the particular evidence. All right, and this is a very typical mode of Grok. Okay, and for DeepSeek, now it's done. DeepSeek likes to use emojis, and this is quite similar as Grok, but not as long as Grok. Okay, but in terms of the in-depth, I think this is similar to Grok, and Perplexity will give you the more Wikipedia style one. Okay, all right. So this is just a quick demonstration, and let me switch back to my slides. Where's my slides? Yes. And here's a quick summary of the tool. So all of them actually have a good balance of the web sources and academic sources. And usually if you ask an academic question, most of the sources are academic ones. Okay, but sometimes we would see some social media posts from Grok as well, because we know that Grok is also trained on Twitter data. Okay, the X tweets, the X data. And in terms of their deep research or deep search functions, Perplexity tends to have more sources, but like I mentioned, they only include a few in the summary, so which makes not much differences than the other two. And it tends to give a more Wikipedia style summaries. Okay, and in terms of the quota for Perplexity, we have three free pro searches per day. Okay, the workaround will be having multiple accounts. And for Grok, I've heard that they have 30 questions per 2 hours, which is quite generous. Okay, and for DeepSeek, it used to have one deep search per day, but now I think it's getting better. Okay, it really depends on the traffic. Okay, all right. So this is the first stage, very light ones. Now let's come to the second stage, which is literature searching and also review. And at this part, we will be demonstrate a lot of tools which can help us find papers, right? Usually at this stage, we will first come up with the search queries. Okay, we need to conduct the in-depth literature search, and based on some good articles, we need to do some probably a citation training to find similar articles, and we need to organize the literature, read them, evaluate them, synthesize them. Right. The research tools we're using at this stage, again, including the traditional databases and some new open databases like Connected Papers or Research Rabbits, like once participant mentioned, and also Insightful, and also the other one is called LibMaps. These are all similar tools. Try to find similar articles, okay, based on some seed articles, right? At the same time, we need some tools to help out manage references, for example, Zotero, EndNote, DrugRef, Mendeley, and also make annotations. Okay, so how AI can help? First of all, some general chatbot, they can help us build search queries. Okay, and I think this is very useful when you are not very familiar with one particular topic or subjects, because they can help us brainstorm the synonyms, okay, and build the structure. And then a bunch of tools to find papers. And lastly, some tools can help us with summarization as well. Now, let me demonstrate how we use POE again to build structured search query, okay? Again, I'm using this one, and you can use other similar chatbots as well. So the key concept here is we use a general chatbot to help us build search queries. And this will be something that I can ask. Okay, I'm looking for articles related to, for example, sleep weight control, okay, in a particular database. Okay, what about science? So my search query will be something like sleep and weight control, these two concepts. Can it help me expand the keywords? Okay, or can it help me to build a more constructive search query? Okay, and then it will give us some. First of all, try to categorize these two concepts, the sleep related and weight control related, okay? And then a list of them, okay? This seems very straightforward, but actually when we are not very familiar with subjects, this is very, very useful. I use this a lot when I came across some research consultation related to a systematic review. For example, a student asked me, how do I do the systematic review on a certain topic, which is a topic that I've never heard of, okay? And then I'll use this way to help me lay down something, okay? And then it will even tell us, okay, for Web of Science, you can use TS, the field tags, okay? And give us some ideas like this, okay? And even using another one, for example, the Gemini 2.5 Pro, similar question. Like I mentioned, always use more than one bot, okay, and try to compare. Sometimes you have some surprising results, okay. For this one, similar, two concepts, and they try to make it even more specific, okay, some general terms, some verb terms, and try to explain how to use Boolean operators, and then construct, okay. Very thorough answer. Okay, and it even tells us that, okay, so there are some search tips other than search. You can also refine your results. You can also use the cited search, etc. Okay, right. So this is something that we can use, not just for our own research. If you are a librarian, yeah, like me, sometimes we can make use of this tool to help us deal with some inquiries as well. Okay, all right. So
Esther, there's a
yes.
question in the chat box. Last one.
Yeah. Come on with the under research aspects. We also come up with the under research aspects that are not mentioned in the found paper. Okay, so for the Gemini 2.5 Pro, this one is connected to the internet. Okay, you can ask these kind of questions using the Gemini 2.5 Pro. Okay, it's the same process as you are using Perplexity or using Grok. Okay, and I would say that you do this over multiple models and then try to see the differences. But I would not suggest you ask this question to, for example, GPT-4 latest, which cannot connect to the internet because for the latest 1-year data, it's not available. All right. I hope that answers your question. All right. Okay, so I think I need to speed up a little bit. So now it's the very hard part, some tools to help you find papers. And now I'm going to demonstrate a few tools, including Scite, Elicit, Consensus, Undermind, and Ai2 Paper Finder. Okay. The first one is Scite. So our institution actually subscribed to Scite. And I think for free users, you can still enjoy some of their features, but they may not show the full content. Okay. So once you are in Scite, make sure you log in because after you log in, your chat will be saved. Okay, this is very typical in all these kind of AI tools. If you're not logged in, you won't see the previous chats. Okay, and once I'm in the Scite, I can go to Assistant. Okay, and then I'll have this chatbot. Scite at the very beginning is not really for AI thing, okay? It's a tool to help people understand the context of citations, okay? The classification of citations. For example, how many papers cite this one in a positive way. I mean, agree with the content of this the papers mentioned, okay? And how many of them disagree, okay? They try to classify the citations, okay? Help people to understand the context of citations, okay? But now they have this assistant which can help you find papers, but at the same time, they try to incorporate these functions as well, okay? So let me just ask a very simple question. Okay, this is one of my favorite questions, actually. Does sleeping less lead to weight gain? Okay, and a couple of things. First of all, you can simply do the search this way, but you can also do some settings, okay, beforehand. For example, they allow you to set the year range. For example, you want the more latest one, you can do like this, latest 10 years, or even latest 5 years. And you can also specify the publication types. Usually I will leave them open, okay? And now they even give you the choices to switch between different models. Okay, I'll just leave it this way, okay? And if you click apply, search, it will start search, okay? And if you want to show the result in a table format, you can also switch on this one. This is a new feature, but currently I don't think it's very mature. So I will say that let's just use the default function. So what Scite is doing is that, first of all, it will try to break down your question into a series of keywords, okay? Here, at the right-hand side, you can see their search strategy, okay? So they have this three set of keywords, and they will give you the list of papers they consulted, okay? Yeah, once it's done, it will automatically switch back to this tab. But if you want to see the search strategy, you need to switch to this, okay? And it consulted the top 38 publications, okay, all here. If you want to take a look at all of them, you can just copy all of them, okay, into your documents, okay? But usually in the summary, they will only include 11. Okay, remember Grok, remember Perplexity. This is very similar. They try to dig out a bunch of articles and then only select the top few, okay, in the summary. And the summary is only about these 11 articles. All right. What's good about Scite is if you click on any of these citations, it will pop up something here and it will highlight, okay, why they think this citation is relevant. Okay, why they think this citation is relevant. And Scite actually has agreement with the different publishers, so they will be able to get the full text from a lot of articles which are behind the paywall. Okay, not just limit to the abstract or the free open access content. Okay, they have the full text to the paid content as well. So sometimes you will find more out of Scite. Okay, so for these articles, if you click onto one, you will see here, and on the right-hand side is the same, okay? And the good thing with Scite is, remember I mentioned about the contextualization. For each particular article, they will tell you that, okay, so this article has been cited this many of times, and most of them just mention it, and there is one particular article which shows that it supports the arguments in this article, okay? Which means that if you, let's say, click into one article, this is, yeah, for example, for this particular article, okay, you can see that, okay, 5 out of 5 citations, 2 support, there's 1 dispute, okay? You might want to take a look at what's happening here, okay? And if there's some issue with this article, probably you wouldn't want to include this in your article, okay? And one thing I want to emphasize here is, we mentioned that for this kind of research tools, the chances for hallucination is very low because it's trained on the scholarly materials, right? So these are all real articles. But that doesn't mean that the things described here, okay, is accurate, okay? It's something that's mentioned in this article. Sometimes this article mentioned something, for example, in the abstract or in the introduction briefly, and then the summary will catch that and then try to interpret. But this is probably not something from this article. Okay. Not the research, not the findings from this article. So this is something that we have to verify. Okay. Citation is real, but it doesn't mean that it really supports the claims here. Right. And this is a typical issue with a lot of these research tools. Okay, so this is Scite. If you want to make some changes with your question, you can always do it, start a new one, or by the way, this is my chat history. Or like I mentioned, you can still change the setting at this stage. Okay, if I want to change back to 2015, and then you need to run it again. And this time, this will limit to the latest 10 years. All right. And Scite will allow you to export all the references, okay, into CSV or BibTeX or RS, okay, so that you can make them available in your research, in your reference management tool. All right, so this is Scite. Elicit. Elicit is designed for research as well, and I think this tool has been developed quite well. At the very beginning, they only have this function called find papers, and now they make it the third tab, okay? They want to highlight these different functions, which can help you generate a full-length report, okay? Or even do a systematic review, okay? At this stage, I do think the most useful one is the find papers one, okay? I'll explain why. For example, I'm using the same question here. So now if you type in the question, okay, they will try to evaluate your question and give you some suggestions. For example, do you want to specify the population? Do you want to specify the measurements? Okay, and they try to give you some suggestions. If I like this one, okay, then I will click this one, or I can still make some changes. For example, I want to know the relationship between sleep duration, weight gain in adults, age between this. Okay, if you're happy with that, you can start searching. So I'm a free user. For free user, you only have 4 papers, okay, in the summary. And if you are a pro user, you can have 8 papers. But whenever 4 or 8 is not enough, the good thing about Elicit is not here. Okay, this is just a summary of a very limited amount of papers. The good thing is this table. Okay, so Elicit will give you a giant table of a lot of different papers, starting from their basic citation, a brief summary, and you can actually add in custom columns based on your needs. For example, for all these articles, I also want to know their methodology. Okay, I can click on methodology, and then they will try to generate the methodology out of all these papers. Okay, so by default, you will see 8 of them, but you can click load more. So it's more than 8. Okay, but for all the articles, they will try to extract the methodology. Okay, for example, their patient type, the study type, etc. In this case, it's a medical science question, so they try to pull out this information. And you can also tailor-made. Okay, for example, they have these preset columns, but you can also create a new one, like a key findings column, and give me the key findings in bullets. Okay, very simple. You can add in more, and then any answer or more specific, or yes, no. Okay, I'll just leave this as that, and then save. And now it will create a column that based on my instruction. Okay, key findings. Or for example, anything related to the population, anything related to their methodology, you want to dive deeper, okay? You can define the question. So this can help you quickly see if the article is relevant or interested. You can click on that and see. They will highlight the part for you to verify. Okay, this is similar to Scite. They allow you to quickly access the information and then verify. Okay, and again, they have these filters, so you can choose to limit to a certain year range. You can choose different study types, and then apply. Then the entire table will be updated. All right. For free user, you can only have 2 additional columns here. Okay. But let's say you have a 3rd column, you can just remove one and add a new one. Okay. But before you remove that one, make sure you copy paste the entire table, the information. Okay. Because unfortunately for free users, we cannot export. Okay. We cannot export. What we can do is we copy paste. Okay. Copy paste the entire table. So this is a kind of a workaround. All right. So this is the Elicit find paper function. They also have this research report. You can ask the same question. Again, they will try to do something similar and generate report. For the free users, you have 2 reports per month. Okay, but what they do is they try to search, for example, I think for free users, they will try to consult 50 papers and then lay down each section, okay, in the way that people are doing, for example, systematic review. Okay, the methodology and what are the papers they consulted, and then to try to write a summary, etc. Okay, I think I can show you an example that I did for example, this one. So this is a report. It takes some time. It will try to gather papers first, try to screen them, and extract only a few of them, and finally include 10 papers, okay, in the entire report. Again, this entire report is a summary about 10 papers, right? And they try to help you categorize them in different ways. Okay. But I think the find papers function is more useful because at the very early stage, we need a lot of papers, right? We are interested in the writing, but I think the discovery part is more important. Okay. All right. So this is Elicit. Consensus is very similar. Okay. I'll just do a quick demonstration here. And again, they have this pro function, and each month you got 10 pro analysis. If you switch it on, it will give you more information. And you can also do some pre-settings. For example, the year, and they also have this journal quartile based on SciMago. This is not based on JCR. This is based on SciMago, the open journal quartile. Okay, and for example, 2015, and then do a search. For consensus, the unique thing about consensus is if you ask a yes/no question, they will give you this kind of a consensus meter, and to tell you that how many yes, how many no, how many possibly. Okay, and if you switch on this one, it's a table, try to consolidate some of the key studies under each category. All right, and the below part is very similar. So for each part, they give you some articles, and they try all different ways to help you read the articles, categorize them, and a quick conclusion. Okay, so this is consensus. And recently, I find it quite good because now you can, by default, they only give you 10 articles, right? And you can click into that and read some of the details. They try to label, for example, which this is a highly cited paper, and this is a meta-analysis, or this is a very good journal. Okay, but recently they allow people to load more results. Okay, which is very good, I think. So other than 10, you got another 10, right? More choices. Okay, so Elicit, Scite, and consensus, they are pretty similar. But for Elicit, it's more exhaustive. They give you a lot more papers, okay, than the other two. Now let me switch to the other two, which is Undermind and the Ai2. I think these two are even more powerful in terms of discovery, okay? And for Undermind, it's not just designed searching. the semantic search, it also incorporates the techniques to allow the tool to do the iterative searching and also try to find papers based on citation chaining, etc. And the same for AI2. So these two are quite similar. They're designed for exhaustive search, and they will give you a lot of articles, and they tell you that why they are relevant. Okay, let me do the quick demonstration here. For Undermind, if I ask the same question, first of all, they will try to clarify. I think this is quite similar as the ChatGPT deep research function. Well, I've never tried that one because I don't have the subscription, but this is how it's working. So for example, they try to ask, okay, are you interested in a particular population or patients, okay? Or do you prefer studies, blah, blah, blah. They'll try to clarify, okay? For example, I'll answer others only and include all. I'll try to answer. And then they would reframe, ask more questions. Would you like the study to include blah, blah, blah? If I don't want to answer this, I think this question is good enough. Okay, this is the question it tries to formulate after my answer here. Okay, if I'm happy with that, I can just click Generate Research Report. And now it will go through the entire process and let you know which stages, okay, it's at. And usually it takes a few minutes. Again, let me show you one example. For example, this one. They recently upgraded their UI, the interface. So previously, there's no, they have a search box, but not very prominent. Now they make this. So at the left-hand side is the reports. At the bottom is a giant table of all the papers. Usually it's between 100 and 200. Okay? It's over 100 papers. But now they also make this very prominent to help you ask follow-up questions, okay, based on the results they deliver. So at the left-hand side, we can see this is the reports, right? Start from a very general summary, the key evidence, and then they try to categorize them, okay? And for each category, they give you a few papers. Since I'm again on the free tier, so they will try to hide some, right? But not many, I would say. Usually a few, okay, at the top tier. And they try to lay out different things. So they present all kinds of information for you to look at and then make informed decision, okay? And they also have this kind of timeline to tell you that, okay, most of the study actually done within the last few years, okay? And as you can see that other than searching, they also help you to understand, for example, the blue ones are actually the articles from the sites, okay? And the red ones from cited by. So some are from the articles, from the references, okay? And some are from the articles who cite these articles. So they already do the iterative searching and try to exploit the other articles who cite them or the papers cited in this article, right? And then at the bottom, this is the giant table, okay? I think the very good thing with this Undermind is they try to rank the papers based on this topic match. Okay, they give you a score, and I think this is the top match. And to a certain point, you know that, okay, probably I'll stop here. Okay, this is 90%, over 90%. And probably when I look at some other articles, for example, this one, oh, I think this is no longer relevant. And it tells you that probably the papers underneath are no longer relevant either. Okay. And at the right-hand side, they try to highlight why they think it's relevant to help you make a decision. If you want to look at their abstract, you can click onto their abstract. Okay, so this is Undermind. Okay, they give you over 100 papers. And of course, you can keep asking questions. For example, summarize or I don't know, or studies in Asia, let's say in table format. You can do something like this. And then based on their reports, they will try to find out all the studies done in Asia and try to lay out the key key component. Okay. So this is Undermind, and for free users, unfortunately, we cannot export, but again, we can copy paste the entire table, right? So this is Undermind. Finally, Ai2. Ai2 is a company who developed Semantic Scholar, right? And one of their key mission is to make things open. So all their models, they develop a lot of models, and all of them are open source models. And this is a tool to help people find papers. Again, other than searching, they're trying to do the iterate searching. Try to find the papers who cite them, the papers cited in the references, and help you to find all this, what are the most relevant papers, okay? So let me give you the same. The first time you search, they will ask you, do you consent? You want them to use your data for their training, okay? If you want to opt out, you can click on opt out. If you want to say yes, then you can say yes, okay? They give you this alert, okay? I also want to mention that for a lot of these tools, they have this option, but they may not make it very prominent for users. For POE, you can also choose to exclude your chat from sharing with third parties. Okay, because some of their chat they will share with the third party, for example, OpenAI, Google. But they mentioned that even they share, they will anonymize. Okay, so your name, your email won't be there. Okay, but there is a chance that our chat will be trained by the other models. Okay, so let's get back to our paper finder. So during the process, actually, they will tell you, they start a query, they try to analyze what are the search query, the criteria they're doing, and then they're trying to follow the citations mentioned. So also check the references and try to re-rank them. And they found 67 papers, and they think these are something, this is what they look for. And typically there will be between 50 to 100 papers. Okay. I think the best thing I like this platform is show evidence. Again, we don't want to just get the results, right? We want to see why they are here, and we can see they highlight why they are here, and this is easier for us to verify. Okay, this paper directly addressed the relationship. Okay, and they classify this as perfectly relevant. Okay, if you see on the right hand side, they will be perfectly relevant or relevant, and sometimes they will be not that relevant. Okay, and they will sort the paper, run the papers by the relevancy. Okay, and for each one, you can see perfectly relevant. They try to highlight the things they think are very relevant. You can also take a look at their abstract or the relevant paragraphs from the paper. Okay, but in this case, many of the texts are from the abstract. Okay, sometimes if the paper is from an open access journal, there's a chance that it's from full text as well. Okay, and if you're interested in any of these papers, if you click on that, that will direct you to a Semantic Scholar. Yeah, this is the underlying data as well. Okay, this platform is trained on Semantic Scholar data as well. Okay, since this is an open tool, they make everything open. You can export everything. Okay, you can export everything into the BibTeX. So, which is very good. And for this paper finder, if you're not happy with these 75 papers, you can say work harder. Okay, and that would trigger them to find more papers. But I've read some studies saying that this function, even that it will find more papers, they may not be that helpful. Okay, so the first stage already help you dig out all the most relevant ones. All right, so this is Paper Finder. All right, so let me get back to my slides. This is a quick overview of the 5 tools that we just demonstrated for paper searching. So some common features is they all use Semantic Scholar, and most of them use title plus abstract. And for Scite, since they have some agreement with publishers, they have the access to some full text of paid materials. And they also use some open access materials as well. Okay, and for Undermind, recently they mentioned that for free users, your results will be only from the abstract and title. If you are a pro user, then you can have access to some open access full text. Okay, so you can see that these companies actually, they're always changing their policies, okay, based on users, and they change their business models as well. And for the first 3 tools, they are all RAG-based academic search tool. I will take a minute to explain this very soon. And they tend to give you a summary with some citations, okay? And we can see usually it's between 5 to 10 citations. And then the summary is about these 5 and 10 citations, right? And for Undermind AI2, they will do the iterate searching, not just search the papers, but to look at their citations and what are the papers citing them. Okay. And they are designed for exhaustive search. And each of them have their slightly unique features. For example, Scite has their smart citations, tell you that what are the papers agree with them and dispute them. Okay. And they will give you this citation statement that extract the paragraphs they think are most relevant. And for the Elicit, they have this giant literature matrix, a table with all the papers. They also have this research report. Okay. Consensus have this meter for yes/no questions. Undermind have this guided search. Okay. They also run the results with the matching score. And for the AI2, the relevancy evidence from each article, which I find really helpful. Okay. And also they have this very transparent searching process. Okay. So quickly mention what is RAG. The reason that at the very beginning, if you see if you use a ChatGPT, they will give you a lot of fake citations, right? But then once it's connected to an external source, okay, for example, can search the internet or connect to academic databases, then the rate for hallucination becomes very, very low. Okay, so basically RAG is when you search, you consult an external source. Okay, it can be knowledge base, can be a search index, or even can be the files you uploaded to their platform. A lot of platforms now allow users to upload PDFs. Okay, for example, Elicit, I think Scite can also, not really sure. Okay, and also and only draw out answers out of this bunch. Okay, so this is part of the RAG system. And then what they are doing is they try to search or retrieve, okay, and get the top n number of articles, relevant articles, and then plus your query and a built-in prompt, they will put them into the LM and then finally generate the answer. Okay, so under the hood, it's basically something like this. So they have this built-in prompt. You are a reference librarian, for example, create optimal search strategy, construct queries to find papers. And this is a task, for example, does sleeping less lead to weight gain? And these are the references pulled out from here. Okay, so this is basically what it's doing under the hood. Okay. And because of consulting these external sources, they can provide us with real citations, okay, more accurate results. Okay, and first, this is the R part, retrieval, and this is the augmented part, okay, because they try to augment the thing into the LLM and finally generate. Okay. And some tools actually at the very beginning, they have another LLM to help them to actually convert your query into a series of, into a Boolean search, okay, like this. They will break them down into something like this before they search. Okay, some examples include Scite or Primo Research Assistant, the Web of Science Research Assistant, or Scopus AI. Scopus AI use a hybrid search mode, but part of it is also like this. Okay, so basically they are searching the keywords, and then after that they will build in a query like this, and then use the LLM to generate the answer as well. Okay, all right. So these traditional tools all incorporate these AI functions. And each tool is, the differences between these and also the Elicit and also Scite is, they're all trained on their own materials. Okay, the scope the coverage. Primo is trained on the Primo Index, CDI. It's a giant index and include not just the journal articles, but a lot of different things, including thesis, etc. Okay. There's a good part, bad part. Good part is very broad, but bad part is too broad, right? And sometimes they only give you 5 answers, but probably not that relevant. Okay, top 5 is not enough, I think. Web of Science trained on Web of Science data, Scopus trained on Scopus data, right? And currently they also have a new product. Elsevier also have their new product called Science Direct, which is trained on Elsevier journals full text. Okay, I've tried that during the trial stage. I think it's pretty good, but of course these tools all cost money, extra subscription on top of the tool. All right. All right, the last one. Okay, I need to speed out a little bit. The last one is the writing part. So usually at this stage, we need to synthesize the studies. Okay, this is actually part of the reading, reviewing, and synthesize. We can't really make the clear distinction, right? And also we need to write the narratives, arguments, and finally cite them properly. Okay, the tools we are using, including all this, okay, and also some similarity check tools, okay, and also some grammar checking tools. So how AI can help? Again, they help us to synthesize some findings. For example, in the Elicit site, they already help us to do some extract some content to help us understand the context, right? And we also have this bunch of tools to help with writing. I think for this part, I won't do too much the demonstration. But I want to mention Notion AI, which is a tool that you can make use of, can help you organize some readings as well. Okay, let me just quickly show you Notion. Notion is a note-taking tool. Oh, where's my Notion? Okay, let me try to find my Notion. This one, no, I'll switch off this one. Give me a sec. Whoops. Oops. I think I have that opened. Oh, it's here. Sorry. Because I opened that in a private mode. This is my real workspace. Okay, hold on. So first of all, Notion is a note-taking tool, but it's also, you can create a kind of a database for organizing all your stuff. Okay, I actually organize everything here, including my personal thing. And they have this Notion AI thing, which can help you. For example, I have a bunch of text and I want to improve writing. I can use Notion AI to ask a question or simply click improve writing. Okay, I use these a lot for polishing emails because sometimes I don't want the big changes, or I don't want to every time copy paste the thing into a chatbot and then copy back, because Notion itself is already a note-taking tool. Okay, and usually the changes here will be slightly better, which is sufficiently good. Okay, so I don't want the big change, so I would just tweak it a little bit. So I use this a lot. But here I want to mention a particular function in Notion. For example, I actually organize all my readings, okay? And I need to read a lot of newsletters and papers, and not really journal papers, but some articles, blog articles, etc. And if you're a librarian, probably you know Aaron Tay from Singapore Management University. He is a data librarian, and he wrote a lot of articles about search tools, information retrieval, etc. And basically, I save all his blogs into my database. And what I do is I can create a table with, so this is all my readings, capture. There's a kind of plugin to help me put in the things in. And I create a particular tab for Aaron, which will list all his readings here. For example, this is one of the article, the latest article. And what I can do is I can actually create customized columns. For example, this is a customized column, which I will list the key findings. I can also create a custom column, for example, like this one. I want to have the tools mentioned in the article. Okay. Remember Elicit, we can have the customized columns, right? But that one is sitting on the Elicit, okay? It's not based on your own. Of course, you can try to upload some PDFs, but you have to upload the PDFs, okay? And this is just some web articles, okay? And if I'm happy with that, I can save the changes. And then it will try to pull out the information I need, okay? And apply to all the articles here, okay? I need to, I think I need to click somewhere to apply. Auto fill this field, update all pages in reading, yes. And then it will apply the things to all the articles here. So this is not limited to the things available on one platform. This can be applied for anything, all your readings, all your notes, okay? And you can have a limited number of columns to help you organize your readings. Okay, so this is something that I want to mention. I think for daily work and also for research, this will be very useful. And in my case, I read his articles. Usually I couldn't just read once. I need to read multiple times. I want to have some hints to remind me what this article is about, okay? And what are the tools he mentioned? And this will be a very useful function for me, okay? To list out the tools that mentioned in the article. All right, so this is Notion. And the other thing is for writing, other than using the general chatbot, for example, help me improve this, help me improve that, you can also make a custom bot to make it more personalized. And one platform you can make use of is POE. But I know that many platforms also give you the option to create a bot, right? If you want to create a bot on POE, okay, let me just quickly walk through the process. You can use a create, and then just use the first one, prompt bot, and give it a name. For example, my writing assistant. You can't make any space here. And sometimes the name will be used by others. So I'll usually, for example, I don't want to, I'll give my initial here. So this is my writing assistant. Oh, it need be my, okay, let me do it this way. My assistant. And then give it a description. For example, my writing assistant. Okay. And then you can choose a model. Okay. The foundation model. For example, I prefer the mini. This one is cheaper. Or if you have enough credits, you can also use others. If let's say I will use my favorite one, which is the 4.0 latest. Okay. And then I can do something like this. Okay, you are helpful writing assistant. Your job is to improve the coherence and logic of the given input, okay, by the user. Of course, you can write more. If you have certain structure, you can include everything here. If you have some articles you wrote before, you want to let it take reference to your previous writing, you can add them here as well. So this will be a very personal writing assistant for you, okay? And then you can say a hello message. Please provide your text here, something like that. And then I will make it accessible, but no need to recommend anything, and then just publish it. And now you will have your own writing assistant. Okay, please provide your text. And I know that this is based on the model that I selected. And every time you do not need to write, okay, please write, please do this. Okay, I will just give the text. Okay, this is a sample text. And now the bot will know what to do. Okay, so this is a better version. Okay, of course, you can write your bot in this way. Okay, please generate 5 versions in one go. So every time you give it a text, it will generate 5 versions. Okay, and then you can compare, right? This is also a way that many people would use. Okay, all right. So for writing, I just want to mention this, and limitations. Wow, we're getting, okay. Limitations. We mentioned a lot of what these tools can do, okay? So this part is about what are their limitations, what we have to be aware of, okay? First of all, as I mentioned, many of these tools, they have a cutoff date. Many of these large language models, for example, GPT-4 currently still to 2023, GPT-4o 2024, and they may not have the understanding of the latest research, okay? Latest 1 year, right? And sometimes they are struggle with the niche topics as well, okay? They perform very well on the common subjects, but struggle with the documents, the subjects that are under-documented, okay? And the suggestion is do not just use the Gen AI as a single source for literature searching. We still need to use the traditional tools for us, right? The databases, Google Scholar, right? Use them as companion. And you can also try to use Undermind, AI2 Paper Finder, because they not only search based on your keywords, they also try to explore the citations and also the citing papers based on the papers found. Okay, so this can help you find some, probably find some papers regarding niche topics as well. Okay, and this is just a study to mention that this researcher, she noticed that these kind of models just did very poor to try to find the niche topics, and once it cannot find what they want, they try to hallucinate. Okay, so this is and also overlook some critical sources from government policies, archives, etc. The second one is the risk of generate incorrect and also biased content. Okay, we'll know that for the tools that are not connected to the internet, hallucination will be a very serious issue. But even that they are connected to the internet or connected to the external sources, okay, for the using the RAG system, there will be this kind of citation faithfulness issues. Okay, they are real citations, but they may not support the claims. Right. And many of these tools also attempt to give you an answer, even that they cannot find anything. And in that part, it's probably hallucination. And then the agrammatic, I don't know how to read it actually, bias. Okay, so it's the system bias, I would say, okay, embedded into the system. So AI can amplify the biases, okay, presented in the training data, okay, and sometimes they might tend to prioritize some highly cited papers, okay. And the thing is, for this kind of bias, sometimes it's a black box. We don't know, right? And some studies also show that it tries to summarize the works that have been retracted as well. There are a lot of journal articles being retracted nowadays, okay? They are found problematic. And these tools actually cannot identify, okay? Some tools can, but most of them cannot. And they will silently introduce those discredited findings into the results, okay? The suggestion here is always verify and to ask yourself, are the citations real? Do they actually support the claims? And double check if any of the papers have been retracted, okay? And this is a study to show that, well, they study 4 different tools connected to the internet, and half of them actually fully supported by the citations, and actually 1/4 of them, okay, they do not support the claims. They do not support the statements. Okay, they are the real citations, but not something saying in the paper. And this is a study I conducted last year. I studied 4 different platforms, and I also found that generate accurate citations doesn't mean that they align with the claims. And I noticed that some tools actually cite the secondary sources. Okay, they're trying to extract something, but that something is not from this paper, it's from another paper. And this is a very common thing I noticed. Okay, and also they conclude based on some introductory or some general statement from the abstract, not really from the research findings of the paper, okay, which can introduce bias, right? The third one is lack of creativity or originality, in-depth analysis. So we know that basically these large language models they are not creating original ideas, right? Original ideas. Okay, they are basically mixing the content in there from their training data. So the Summaries tend to be very surface level. And like I emphasized many times, the summaries is based on the top few articles. Okay, it's not based on the entire articles of the topic. Okay, and usually they lack the critical evaluation of the relationship between the different findings. Okay, and they tend to be using more robotic language as well. Okay, sometimes when you see a word, you know that this is definitely AI. For example, dive into DELVE, dive into, or pivotal change. Yeah, this is a term that I always see. And then suggestion, do not simply prompt, please write a review on certain topic, but write your own subjects, write your own draft, develop your own analysis, and then let AI to help you polish it. Okay. The last one is recently added, the lack of transparency and also reproducibility. Okay. Like I mentioned, many of these search mechanisms, although that they try to lay out everything, the steps, but how they perform, how they rank the studies actually is still the black box. Okay. It's not truly understandable. Okay. And also, if you run the same query many times, sometimes they will give you slightly different results. Okay, this time probably these 9 papers, next time that 7 papers. Maybe there are two papers difference. Okay, so this kind of reproducibility lacking will be a big issue for the studies which require evidence-based research. Okay, and if you're doing the systematic review, you cannot solely rely on these kind of tools. Again, do not use Gen AI as a single source for literature searching. And particularly for systematic review, you have to use the traditional tools, okay, which are more transparent and reproducible. All right. So you might ask, can I still use this tool for lit review? Yes, but task dependent, okay, and they're most effective when carefully guided and verified. For example, we mentioned about developing research questions. They can be very helpful to generate ideas, right? But some studies show that this will be very risky for some junior researchers, for example, undergraduate students who have not been yet trained on doing this task, right? For lead discovery, I think this is the most part that AI can be very effective, okay? Because of course, they can be faster to search a lot of works. Okay, faster than the manual work human done, but they could be the supplement, not to replace the traditional keyword search. Oh, sorry about the typo here. And the tools strong in the extensive searching include the Elicit, Undermind, Ai2. Okay, for synthesis, maybe, but again, we need the human oversight. Okay, strong human oversight for context and accuracy checking. And again, they can be risky for researchers without such trainings. Okay, we have to have the subject knowledge in order to judge. Okay, and the good thing with these tools is they give us extraction of the relevant stuff for us to quickly verify. Okay, we always need to verify, but these tools make the verification easier for us. And for writing, well, this has to be cautious, right? It can assist, but again, over-reliance can be a risky thing. Okay, there can be a risk for plagiarism and a loss of skill. Yeah, and I want to mention that nowadays, even for myself, I use AI tools for different tasks a lot, and I start to notice that my thinking in some areas start to deteriorate. Okay, so we need to think about how we use AI, right? Do not let it deteriorate the skills that really we want to build and retain. Okay, for example, writing. Okay, and we talk a lot for the tools, and it's very important that we have this the change in the skills we need as well. Okay, for example, we need to start building the skills for communicate with AI, choose the right tool, ask good questions, and be able to evaluate the output. Okay, and we also need to always be aware of the limitations, issues related to the bias, misuse, and data privacy issues, copyright issues. I didn't mention too much about copyright issues here, okay, but I'll give you some resources later, okay, because a lot of students ask about this, and we came up with some frequently asked questions. and strengthen the critical thinking and domain expertise. To verify things, we have to have the domain expertise, right? Use AI to support, not replace our subject knowledge, and use our critical mind to spot the errors. Okay. And finally, adapt to change. We need to stay updated on all these new tools, capabilities, and also be ready to change to any other tool, okay? Because the tool can be gone, okay, suddenly, or can charge a lot suddenly, okay? All right, so that's end of my talk. I'm sorry for the overrun. And here are some resources, library guides, and I actually developed a guide for my workshop, and this page consolidate. I recently updated this. Okay, it's a comparison of all these kind of Gen AI tools, and also how do we cite? Okay, cite the policies from the publishers. Okay, and how do we cite the AI generate content, text, and also images? Okay, so these are some of the resources, and also this one, copyright AI FAQs. So, for example, students always ask, can I just upload the articles to the AI tools? Okay, here are some black and white answers, but sometimes we can explain more off the record. Right. And I do recommend people who are interested in this kind of topics to follow Arente's blog and also Ethan Malik's blog. Okay, Professor Ethan Malik is a business professor from University of Pennsylvania. All right. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope this is not too much overwhelming. And definitely the slides and recording will be shared, and I will share the prompts I used today with everybody as well. Okay. All right. So Dr. Koo, Sylvia, over to you.
Yes. Thank you, Asta. Let me share
See
my
if we have any
screen.
questions.
Yes, I saw 2 questions about Notion AI in the chat. So
oh, let me take a look.
has any issue with copyright and copying them into such tools like copying Aaron posts into Notion? And how perfect is Notion?
Yes, this is something that I thought about. So first of all, this is really for personal use. Okay, I'm not gonna share the articles with anybody because they are actually the open articles online, and for the information you store on Notion, they will not use for other purposes. Okay, so that's the things that I'm sure. But in terms of the copyright, of course, the content belongs to the owner, belongs to the writer, right? And I'm kind of to use it for my personal study and learning, and I would see this as a fair dealing. Yes, but thanks for pointing this out. Yeah, this needs to be cautious.
Yes, if you have any questions to ask Esther, you can type in the chat box or unmute yourself to ask questions. We will address as many as we can in the time we have. So we still have 7 minutes. So any questions?
Yeah, I saw a comment. I find Undermind very helpful in formulating a good research question. Yes. And at very beginning, people say that Undermind is designed to replace librarians, right? Actually, as librarians, we also do these kind of things. We try to ask questions to help the students formulate their research question. And but as a librarian, when we use these kind of tools, we can see how this tool is trying to formulate, how this tool is trying to refine the question, because we don't know all the subjects, and some of these kind of questions are really subject based. And I think even for librarians, this is a good tool to help us, right?
Yes, any other questions? Okay. If no more questions, then it comes to closing, right? So thank you all for your engaging questions and participations in our webinar. A special thanks to Esther for sharing her expertise and insights with us today. We also appreciate the support from our co-organizer, the Hong Kong University of Technology and Science Library, in making this event possible. Before we wrap up, yeah, a promotion time. So we encourage you to join the Hong Kong Library Association to stay connected and continue exploring the resources and opportunities available to you. For more details, please visit our website. Also, you can follow us on social media. So just search Hong Kong Library Association. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And also we have established a new YouTube channel. So today's recording will be uploaded to our YouTube channel later. So feel free to follow us on these social media platforms. And last but not least, please take a moment to complete the evaluation survey. So share in the chat, and also your feedback is greatly appreciated. So we hope you to find this event informative and inspiring. So have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you at our future events. So goodbye and thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Esther.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Esther.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.